Camp Vienna.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio Number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, well, almost, not really Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but we'll go with that. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio from the Camp Vienna Studio Number 2. Along the banks of the mighty lower Allegheny River. I'm your host, Hutch Bailey Jr. This is Cold War Radio, the Friday episode, week in review. The Cold War Radio patron hotline still working through the mountains, 412-206-6208, the voicemail 412-567-1460. Please visit SteelCityResistance.com where you can become a Cold War Radio patron. You can catch the research room. Lots of material in there. The video 2 page with the videos of clips that we don't have for this particular episode, but most nights we do. If you'd like to contact the show, contact scrtv@live.com or write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433 370 Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15234. Insert jazz clip that you don't have here. Clips over. Let's go to the northern neck of Virginia and welcome Jack to the program. Hello, Jack. What's on your mind, brother?
I love those quick jazz clips. Oh, it's a good day, a great week of weather here. It's been temperate. It's supposed to cool back down next week, but everybody around here just looking forward to spring. And we had our final harvest day of the commercial oysters. So 6 months until I have to put on the oil slicks and go after those elusive oysters again.
Do you have like an oyster bake or a oyster fry off or something? Is there some kind of traditional hullabaloo that goes on in the oyster community?
I'm sure there probably is somewhere for some of those folks, but for me, I just told them, I said, I'm headed to the couch.
I'm out.
You know?
I love you guys, but I'm out.
4 o'clock wake-up call is done until October. So.
There you go. Good for you. That's got to be interesting. You got to call in. You got to talk about that one day and just enlighten us. I mean, most people don't know what in the hell you do, myself included. I mean, I know a little bit, but, you know, I did some crabbing already, but I imagine it's kind of the same. You use
hunting
nets.
Oysters is like it's almost like stalking the tiger in the jungle. You've got to sneak up on it. You got to take a bead. And you have to have the right ammunition. No, it's nothing like that. You drop this dredge down into the water, and you spin the boat around lazy circles, and you pull it up, and hopefully, you know, you have to cull out and sort, and they have to be at least 3 inches in length for you to harvest them. So that's the excitement.
What's the most exciting thing that wasn't an oyster that you pulled up in your dredging net?
Well, see, this year, I mean, a lot of times you'll catch gear and crab pots and things, but this year, earlier when we were off of Urbana, Virginia, in the Rappahannock River, we caught a 1700s era clay trade pipe, which was common coming from England. It was like a white clay, and they're very fragile, but it was one of the...
A smoking pipe.
Yeah,
those are.
You've seen the old.
I have. I mean, I went to a whole class on those things. You had one. It didn't shatter. It made it into the boat.
It was broken a little bit on the tube part,
Yeah.
But I guess about 85% of it was still there, perfectly fine, and was picked up by this forged steel dredge with teeth that are like have teeth as long as your fingers, and like 12 of those that gouge the bottom of the river and scrape up the oysters. Just picked that thing up and brought it.
I think those,
up to the.
if I'm not mistaken, those are the ones that people in the earlier days in the colonial times used to smoke them, like at the tavern or the inn or whatever, and then fire them in the fire when they were done. Just throw it in the fireplace, right?
That was, yeah. They were inexpensive, but they were a good trade item, along with amazingly the ballast that came from England in the ships, right, to keep them weighed down before they got to the colonies. They dumped the ballast, which was English flint, which the Native Americans loved, because if anyone's looked at it, you turn it, it makes a very, very sharp and useful knife blade or a arrowhead point. So those two items, which were basic.
For those of you listening from the penitentiary, that's a shank. But go ahead.
A shank. Yeah, but so that item, which was basically just ballast to get the ships over, and then they were filled. The ballast was thrown over, and the goods were put in, which kept the displacement right for the ships to head back to England. So between that and those English, I think is.
Somebody will say something in the chat room if they can't hear me. I'd like to let me get a commo report. Rocky, you got me? And I'll wait to see where that goes. No, okay. Okay, sound's back. I'm on. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, just in time. I appreciate that. Hopefully Jack will be here in a short if he's not here already. But I'm out here, and it's just so peaceful. But I had to strip the mixer out, and I just have an old Yeti microphone that from the archives when I used to go on the road, and I had to revert to that. So we have telephone communications, and hopefully, let me go back over here. I should have looked here in the first place and see where we're at with. Okay, there seems to be a problem. Let's reload the call, and we will get that straightened out. You might hear this a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, and you might not. But we're going to give it a shot and see if we can't get back on the call. We got Boo. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Cold War Radio.
Yeah, let me, how can I stop that? I can do that right there, and that'll stop that.
Please mute your microphone
and then
until you
hopefully Jack will call back in. I actually see him there, so we'll turn that back on and see where we're at. Jack, hello, radio. You got me?
I've got you back. You dropped out, or I thought the man shut us down because I was going long-winded there for a minute.
No, I think the Uber conference dropped me. I had a good development up here. My family showed up right before the show. My daughter and her fiance, my grandson and his little buddy. So they were using a little bit of the internet out there with some Netflix and whatnot. I think we got that straightened out, but I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I just didn't have the time. I could have done some mitigating factors, but I just didn't have the time, and I'm just going to take what I can get, and glad that they're here. Having some good, man, I'll tell you, when I get out here, I'm a simple guy. And some of the things that you really like, and you might be able to identify with this too. I mean, when I was a kid and we went camping, there were certain types of things, like we ate canned potatoes. I don't know if you ever did that. Canned potatoes, they come whole or sliced, and you just cook them in a frying pan or fry them up or whatever. And man, I had some of those for breakfast.
Reheat them, right?
Yeah, and you put them in some butter. You fry them in some butter so they get a nice little skin on them. Chop them up a little bit. I like the whole ones, and then I chop them up on the griddle. And, man, I had that for breakfast this morning. So good, so good. But you know what? Something happened to me today that happens every year. At least one day during Lent, this happens to me every single year. It was today here. I somehow forgot that this is the best day to buy fish in the United States on Friday night, on a Friday of Lent. Plus, it doesn't hurt with the boss. So, of course, I thought about it as I was frying my bacon for bacon, lettuce, and tomato that I had tonight, and it was good, and I wasn't turning back on it, Jack. You know what I mean? I was like, well, this is just the day. This is the one I blew. You know, usually I don't, but it happens at least once a year, and that happened today. So I had a bacon, lettuce, and tomato, and what the hell? I had the rest of those potatoes too. I had a half a can for breakfast and a half a can with my BLT that I was supposed to have a fish sandwich. I even went down when I was down at the lumber supply store, Jack. I was talking to the fellas trying to find out where the best one was, and I still came home and cooked bacon.
Yeah, I mean the what you related at Pittsburgh is like a battle of who can give you the biggest and freshest fish sandwich on during Lent, and I'm like envious. So we kind of. I'll either cook the Gorton's fillets or whatever.
Those are good. Those are good.
With some tater tots or whatever. And my wife likes the fillet of fish from McDonald's. And to me, that kind of gets old because, you know, you got a few weeks. Let's mix it up. And we saw Wendy's had a fish sandwich that's only during Lent.
And a good one. It's crispy.
It's a panko fried. Yeah, crispy fried panko breaded fish. And we had that tonight. It has like a couple pickles and some different tartar sauce, but I think the pickles put that little bite into it. But
there you go.
It was pretty damn good. You know,
I love pickles. I make my own a lot, as a matter of fact. But you know, something that a neighbor did. My wife told me about it last week, and this is just a shout out to those of you who maybe do not have all you can do is get a fillet of fish or a Wendy's fish, or Arby's has a fish. Most grocery stores that have the prepared food sections have some fried cod fillets and stuff like that in it. And my neighbors, man, they went and bought like $3 and there was enough fish there to make 5 sandwiches. You know what I mean? And they bought a loaf of bread, a loaf of Italian bread. And that was, I mean, it was like they did the whole thing for $5. You know, it was pretty smart. You know, I'm thinking I might do that next time.
That's a good deal.
Now, I'm to the point now where, you know, because of my situation, I don't eat bread. Well, no, I take that back. I eat bread. But I can't eat a whole hoagie bun. And that's what the fish sandwiches are on. You know, they're giant. And that's just way too much meat.
I mean, too much wraps?
Bread. Yeah, I wouldn't do that, though. I think I do, but not on a fish. Not a fish. I'll take that on a plate. I'll eat it that way. I do like, I have been experimenting with some wraps, though. They are kind of good. They are. I'm not going to lie. I like them. But I'm trying to get my tolerance back up with bread because I love bread.
It's hard to replace a good bun or roll. Or
I know, man. I know. So right. So, like I said, I mentioned the canned potatoes. Guess what I found today, man? I found one of the things with me is it seems like now when my daughter's here, when these guys are here, they'll eat everything. They eat the full menu. But when I'm at home, my wife and my stepson, they really, my stepson started going off on a tangent. He's like a gourmet chef now. He changed up a lot, but I don't know, Jack, but the only way that I'm going to eat meat is if it's meat. I don't want plant-based meat. I don't want bean-based, soy-based. I just want meat.
Soy substitutes? Not good enough for you?
Not even close. Nope. You know, that's what the kind of thing
How
we like.
dare you?
Oh, how dare you? And you say that now when I don't have my iPad. I could have just poo-poo. That would have sounded professional, but we'll get that back together. We will. We'll figure it out. I just had to take what I could get.
It's amazing, though. I mean, the food snobs, but, you know, you and I and a lot of folks tuned in, listening, and folks in the chat room are former military. And you just go out to the field for a 2-week exercise, eating MREs every day.
Yes, sir.
You'll appreciate, you know, the canned potatoes.
Oh, definitely. And I found something today at the store. This little grocery store opened back up. It was closed for a couple years, and you know, the area had blight just like the rest of the country going through the Obama years, and it was just starting to pick up with Trump, and then the Chinese Democrat virus hit. And this place opened up, and I went in there on purpose. It's like I'm not going to a supermarket, a chain one. I'm going to this family-owned one. And I went up there and I, got all my groceries there. But, man, I found the ultimate thing for my situation. You know those little individual-sized cans of things, like little individual beefaroni or something like that? Or beanies and weenies.
Oh,
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Beanies and weenies. Perfect example. Perfect example. I found corned beef hash. I'm happy. I got like 3 of them. I'm like, man, this will happen every time I go to make breakfast. That's just enough for me. Because nobody else likes it. That was my lead up.
Brown it up.
Oh, man. And if you have a good pan and you have patience and you can let that sucker fry for about 5 minutes straight without moving it, oh, man, it pays off in the end. It does.
The crispy bits.
Oh, man, good stuff. Looks like dog food. I'm not going to lie. It does. You people that like
I
it,
remember the original. Remember the original MRE? They had corned beef hash.
No, I didn't. Did they? I don't even remember that.
Oh yeah, it's like you saved your hot sauce from all the other meals just to put into that one.
I remember when they initiated the hot sauce. That was a big deal too.
Tabasco, the original.
Yeah, those little bottles. Yeah, I remember sea rations too, though not too very fondly either.
I missed that one.
Oh, you didn't get to eat those? Oh, you dodged a bullet, man.
I could tell. I could tell.
Oh, God. Not only were they nasty, they were from Vietnam. You know what I mean? I'm in the 80s, and they're in the 70s. And I mean, the beef
and that's
slices.
a tropical jungle, Did they make a trip across the Pacific twice?
I don't know. I
shipped over there and then shipped back.
I'll tell you, the marketing was not conducive to a palatable experience. Chicken or turkey boned. Just imagine getting a can like that. Chicken or turkey boned. Now, that means they just threw everything in the same 55-gallon drum or whatever. And don't ask me how you bone it. I would guess it's mechanically deboned. Well, man, my goodness.
Mechanically separated, filed into a vat, heated up to whatever the
dog
had
food
to be,
temperature.
the whole
the rendering
170, 100. Boom.
Nasty, nasty, nasty. Or beef slices. That was good. Beef slices, a little can of sliced meat product. And you can look in there and see the capillaries and shit, whatever the white tubes. You could see them coming through these discs. I was like, oh, God, I'm not eating that. And then they destroyed. And the thing is, you will eat it if you're hungry enough. Trust me on that. You run around the field all day, and that's all you got to eat. I guarantee you're eating it. And maybe some people wouldn't, but I wasn't that strong. I was not that strong. Now, there were some things you could do with them. There were some, like the turkey loaf. And I imagine that's like the runoff of the turkey or chicken bone. I don't know, but made it into a loaf through some gelatinous material in there from the horses. Made some loaf out of it. But it used to come with a little can of caraway cheese. And I remember you take the can of, and I'll be done with this in a second, but I'm having fun. You take the can of turkey loaf and open it up, but you don't take the lid all the way off. You got your little P38 can opener, and you're going around it, and about a half hour later, you get to the end, and you bend it open and move out make a little hole in the middle of the meat product, and take that caraway cheese and scrape it out of the tin and put it in that hole, and then you fold that lid back over top of it, and then you would take that can.
Heat it up.
You'd take the can. And you took everything else out of the sea ration box. It came in a little cardboard box. And you put the turkey bone or the turkey loaf with the cheese, with the lid flattened back over top of it, in the box and light the box on fire. And by the time the box was burned, it was semi-warm enough to, it melted the cheese. So, I mean, little things like that, and they had fruit cocktail and pears. And
That's how you had to heat up your food, burn the box that it came in.
Infantry, baby. Hooah. Either that or, I mean, there
Hey,
was
John V in the chat room said that was actually one of his favorite sea rats.
That was mine, too. That was absolutely a
Mystery
favorite.
chicken turkey.
Oh, no, not that one. I liked the turkey loaf. I didn't appreciate that turkey or chicken. No, that was those discs, man. They were like red.
Each bite was a surprise.
True. Beaks and feet, man. Beaks and feet all day. Protein, man. Protein.
I know there's one of the people that I watch on YouTube is a guy that he eats all of these MREs, sea rats.
I watch him too.
Back to like some rat.
I watch
1989 MRE or something.
Yeah, I watch that.
The dude is nuts.
He is.
He's smoking cigarettes from 80 years ago.
Yeah, he eats some of that stuff too, man. I mean, some of it you can't.
Oh my goodness.
Some of it you can't, but
Right.
I mean, I've watched that, because see, I came of age with the very first MREs, like you kind of, when they had, and the Army, man, I'm telling you, the contract officers, they're brain dead. It takes them so long to adjust. Remember how some of those entrees, if you will, like not the hot dogs. Remember the hot dogs, the 5 fingers of death?
5 fingers of death.
I mean, only the Army can make hot dogs that aren't the same size or shape as anybody else's.
Right.
And the baked beans are like red.
You thought the Vienna sausages were like desperate interpretations of meat. You haven't seen anything until you opened up the 5 fingers of death.
I mean, they're probably still out there in the landfill. They didn't rot or anything. They're probably exactly the same as when you opened the bag up. But I'll never forget the first one. I was out in the field, and I was a recovery operator. So I was in a big-ass tow truck that was a track vehicle. It wasn't a truck. It was a track, 27 tons. And we had a case of MREs every time we went to the field, more than one. And we kept it in our track, and you just, ate, whenever. Well, we broke down. And there we are. And nobody knew what an MRE was. But we had a case of them in the track. And it was wintertime, and our track wouldn't start, so it's cold as hell. And
That's when you had to open that box. Huh?
opened up that box and took out my, what was it? It was chicken a la king. Chicken a la king. I'll never forget. I guess like what would you call that? Aluminum pocket, aluminum container,
Yeah.
but paperized.
Foil.
Foil. And naturally, it was frozen solid, so I had a chicken a la king sickle. And the track wouldn't start.
Oh,
so
you
there was
didn't
no
like
way.
that.
Couldn't light the box
You
on
should've went
fire.
for
It would have
the-
melted the bag,
They
That
had
was
at
horrible.
that time, I think, the dehydrated beef patty, pork patty,
Potatoes.
the dehydrated fruit,
Strawberries.
Which, there was the fruit mix. If it's too many of the troops would just munch on them constantly, or
Get
trade
dehydrated.
just to get all the freeze dried stuff, and it would put them in the hospital because it would suck every bit of moisture out of them, lock them and bind them up. And they, next thing you know, sick call.
I often
So
thought the
those
Chinese
didn't
communists
last too long.
introduced those. I still think the Chinese communists introduced those. I mean, I'm thinking about this. I'm
The
going,
freeze dried.
yeah, we're dying everywhere. I mean, these people are falling out left and right when you're in a hot climate. And then you add that to the mix, and, nobody runs around drinking water. Just a horrible situation, man. It was, and plus they were good when you just ate them. That was the other downside of it. So I replaced my United States flag, my American flag, with the Gadsden flag here at Camp Vienna just because I felt like it. And I put it out there, and it was pretty breezy. It gets breezy out in the mountains this time of year, up until about the middle of May, or the second week of May. It gets pretty breezy. And this thing's out there, and it's flying. It's right out in front of the studio. And I looked out, and it had started, wrapping around the pole a little bit. It would get blown so hard, but it would go over. And next thing I know, I looked out, and it said, "Read on me." I mean, it had wrapped up, it covered up the don't tread on me. It was
Read on me.
Read on me. It was like halfway showing. I'm like, oh man, I got to go fix this. And I did. I'm looking out now, and it's standing tall now. Somebody gave that to me. I don't remember who did, but somebody in the audience sent me, don't tread on me, Gadsden flag. And it is now flying proudly at Camp Vienna. Thank you very much.
I saw something first time down here, and it's been about time considering, like I said, I went up the road in January, the very first week of January. Gas prices here, regular gas, was $2.09 a gallon. Tonight, when I came home from oystering, same gas station is $2.79 a gallon. And coming into my neighborhood, one of the houses that had the Trump-Pence 2020 campaign yard sign had a new sign up right underneath the flagpole. It's a big, like maybe a 2x3 sign, and it's President Trump hugging the flag, and it said, "Miss me yet?" Right out there. So I'm wondering, if those are going to start popping up all over the United States.
I don't know. One thing I got to say,
that prices spike like that.
Oh man, mine are at 309. 309.
I went to shot up like a rocket since
for about a week now. About a week, it's been like that. I mean, I went down to West Virginia right before I came up here because my truck has a 36-gallon fuel tank in it, and so it pays me to get out of the slave state of Pennsylvania and go to one of the free states. And West Virginia had gas were $2.55 at 309 in slave state of Pennsylvania. So anybody who can do that, I'm telling you, that's the best way to do it, man. I'm telling you. These people, I don't know what it is with Democrats. They think that everybody's as dumb as they are, I guess. But I'm not going to sit there and pay that. If there's any other way.
No, the reasoning that I heard was because of that cold snap that hit Texas. That's why all of these prices have shot up.
How about because the Yemeni Houthis bombed Saudi Arabia's oil fields? Joe Biden administration took them off the terrorist list. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, neighbors, to all my neighbors with your Biden signs. Thank you very much for giving us these gas prices. You're the ones that did it. And I'm going to start calling your ass
right?
out.
Isn't that what he said? He just took his 50 days in office, and we see the results. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is. And it's not funny, and it's not nice, and it's not legal, and it's evil. If you look at what they're doing, if you add everything together and you look at the gutless, spineless Republicans that are in there, it just makes no sense. Oh, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. It's just people are not going to be happy at the end of the day, Jack. I mean, sooner or later, these idiots that elected this guy or that the ones that conspired to steal it ought to be locked up. There's no question. To me, that's a capital offense down to the lowest operator. I mean, that to me is something, if we ever forget that as a group, as an organization, as a group of like-minded people, if we ever forget that, we're finished. We're totally finished. And I've already, look how many Republicans already forgot about it.
And you look at what Biden said in his speech the other day, basically said if we behave ourselves and do what the government says, we just might be able to have a small gathering on the 4th of July, Independence Day. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want on Independence Day.
I know, you're irrelevant.
Or a small gathering.
You people are irrelevant.
I don't need his permission to do.
That's right, man. You're damn right. That's well said, man. I mean, that's something that we all have to do. You got to start telling these people no. I mean, if we don't, we're going to be slaves. I'm not ready to be a slave, Jack. I'm not ready. I got some good news in there, coming up a little bit. We'll talk about, but I'm just not prepared to just lie over. I've had enough of these. I walked into a store the other day without my mask, and I almost stayed in there. I let, no, you know what? This guy here got a mask on. Let me go get it. But I feel like a loser when I do that.
To me, the people that you see running around in fear. I mean, like you said, how many people have you looked when you're driving in your car? They're inside their car alone, windows rolled up, and they got a mask on. I'm like, what the hell is going on with these people? You know,
or they have
totally
their business.
Some of the good things we saw.
Good.
Go ahead.
I'm just, we got a little bit of a delay here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little bit of crashed into each other. You'll have this. But, you know, even the business owners, you look at the business owners, especially the corporate ones, and you look at how they're bending over and grabbing their freaking ankles. And it's like, you know, every time one of you jagoffs does that, it makes it harder on me. You know, it makes it harder to get these people to snap the hell out of this dumb shit.
Well, the good thing is what happened last week with, you know, Texas joining Florida and then Alabama and Mississippi chiming in, basically opening and eliminating the mask mandates for their states. You can wear one of them if you want to, et cetera. But we're open for business, full capacity. It's over. So we have a stark contrast going on within this nation, which is the way our nation's set up to be, right?
Yeah.
States' rights, individuals, each state can run their show the way they want to. And you'll see, because the open for business states, they'll be the first ones to bounce back. They're going to be the first ones where their small businesses will basically come out of the mothballs that they've been put in by government, the state governments and the federal government to a certain extent. Even though Biden calls them Neanderthals, I think that's called forward thinking and looking at plain as day at the fact of the matter, right? You compare Florida's numbers with lockdown New York State's numbers, and right there is just black and white. You know,
New York State, which has embraced some of the most stringent coronavirus restrictions in the country over the past year, has reported more cases, both per capita and in overall number, than Florida, Neanderthal Florida, which has faced backlash from establishment media outlets, pro-lockdown politicians for its coronavirus policies, allowing businesses to operate and abstaining from a statewide mask mandate. You know, you say that we're set up for debate, and Trey Gowdy said something about it. He said there's a difference between contrast and conflict. And contrast is what you're talking about. And you can't have that when you have one party just totally Nazifying the other one. You listen to some of the things these people in government, and they're not very smart. When you drill down and you start talking to them, or you start listening to them talk, they're not very smart. These Democrats, I mean, they've got some people that are fanatic and that are, man, they're diehard never quitters. But they're not the brightest people, some of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing, setting themselves up for a massive failure if the American people ever wake up.
Well, I think the problem is with the Democrats, and they've been like that for a while, I guess, since Pelosi has been in power, maybe a bit earlier, but they have their talking points. Leadership puts out their message, their policies, and it's almost to a T, they're lock step with each other. Recently you had AOC and her little gang of progressives along with Sanders bucking that trend, but they're trying to iron that all out. But for the most part, they're on board with whatever needs to be done.
Oh, and you look at
whether
Cuomo.
it's good for the country or not.
You look at Cuomo. You look at Andrew Cuomo, the scumbag individual, and you watch him. If you're a Republican, watch him. If you could learn half of the stuff, half the metal, half of the balls that this idiot has, if you could pass that to some of these Republicans, they might be able to lead. He's making an ass out of everybody. And we'll cover that in just a minute. I'm not going there yet.
Yeah.
First, I want to go to Michigan. And I think that this is something else that needs to start happening. And it needs to happen in Pennsylvania. I'll tell you that. These frickin' fascists need to be held accountable for the murders they committed. Macomb County, Michigan prosecutor Peter Lucido said Thursday he has received hundreds of calls and emails with information that could aid an investigation into coronavirus-related nursing home deaths. Lucido issued a call to county residents to contact police with vital records and other information that could aid a probe into whether the deaths were caused by Governor Gretchen Whitmer, by Governor Gretchen Whitmer's policy of putting coronavirus-infected patients in nursing homes to recuperate. Now, I'll give you some advice. If you're going to participate in anything like this and you trust your government, you're a damn fool. You send them copies. Don't give them everything, especially if the FBI's involved. That's just my opinion. But I'd like to see more of this happen. I would, because they deserve it, man. There's a 500 people deserve to go to prison just right now. And it's getting frustrating. It is, Jack.
Yeah, the whole, ever since President Trump was elected, it's been frustrating. And then learning what's been going on for the past 50 years has been just overwhelming. And to see that now, after the fact, right, the election's over, they got what they wanted, they got their man, their puppet in place. Now you see them sort of, with Trump gone, they've got to have something to talk about or something to do to show that they're actually semi worth their medal. So you see that little bit come out with Cuomo, but you see what's overwhelming the Cuomo deal, what's being pushed under the rug. The fact that he did the same shit that Gretchen Whitmer did in Michigan. So it's good to see that there's a prosecutor out there that wants all this information. What he does with this information and what comes to fruition down the line is what matters the most. Just because he's out there saying, "Hey, I want this," just to investigate, don't get your hopes up that they're actually going to prosecute.
No, absolutely right. I mean, there's some. I think that there's some indicators that they're going to get him. And I would go back. I mean, think about what we've already forgotten. I could take it all the way back to special, or not special agent, but to DEA agent Brian Terry. I go all the way back there. We haven't had justice for a damn thing. Hillary Clinton and Benghazi, the FBI, Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the biggest criminal in the history of the United States of America, and he's still alive, folks. Legally,
yes, sleeping with the Chinese spy, and that's like low brow compared to like the Awan brothers scandal and their manipulation of information of congressmen. I mean, they were tied in. The IT folks had the information from all of these devices, laptops, phones of sitting Congress people back and forth
Dianne
to Pakistani ISI.
Senior senator.
30 years, China spy.
Biden,
They
all by
used to
himself.
hang.
The whole freaking
They used
Biden
to
family. Yeah, they did. And we should again. That's what got me kicked off of Twitter, by the way, because I wanted to apply the same laws to Marco Rubio as we were talking about with Clapper. Because Marco Rubio is every bit as guilty as anyone on the Democrat side and should be right next to these people on the gallows before the floor drops out. Yeah, Marco Rubio, chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee for a time, refused to share with the rest of the Senate the information that was behind the committee saying that the Trump, what the hell was it? Saying that there was no collusion or something. I forget the exact details. I could go back and find them. But Marco Rubio is no good. I've been telling you that for years. Since the first year of the show, I've been telling you Marco Rubio is a plant. He's a freaking horrible guy, and so are most of the senators.
Right.
blunt.
You don't rise to the high levels of those committees on either party, on either House or the Senate, on any of those committees, without being complicit to a certain extent. I mean, you take Lindsey Graham, look at McConnell,
God.
you look at all of the people.
But Marco Rubio did it in
They
his
put
30s.
Swalwell,
He did it in his 30s.
Swalwell's back in Intel.
Oh, yeah.
How the hell do you put him back in the Intel?
There's
committee?
no give a damn in this country anymore, Jack. I mean, there's a few people, and most of them are listening to this show, that care about these things. But the massive, non-giving a damn about China, just totally owning us, owning our federal government. I want to know how many Republicans are owned by China. That's what I want to know more than anything else. I don't care about the Democrats. I know the Democrats are my enemy. They are my for real enemy. They want to kill me. They want to kill every one of you. They've said it. They certainly don't want you to be able to talk or to vote or to travel without their vaccine. I mean, it's getting rough out there. Jessica Bakeman, a journalist formerly stationed at the New York State Capitol, has come forward as the 7th woman to level allegations of sexual harassment against embattled New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Democrat. Bakeman broke her silence about Cuomo in an essay. This is a little weak now. I mean, I'm just saying. In an essay in the New Yorker on Friday, alleging that the governor placed his arm around her shoulders during a party at the Executive Mansion in 2012. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo defied New York congressional Democrats' call for him to step down on Friday, insisting that he's actually a victim of the cancel culture. Now, let me tell you what that looks like to me. To me, that looks like something that Nancy Pelosi planted so they could say how damn stupid it was. Your thoughts?
I think the movement right now is to deflect from the actual crimes that he committed last year. You had a little bit of that leak out when his assistant said that they deliberately falsified the information for a HHS a report on the COVID deal, minimizing the numbers of deaths in the nursing homes, because in their minds they thought that former President Trump could use that politically. You know, basically what they did is they out and out lied, falsified information for the ongoing pandemic, and it dealt with deaths at nursing homes. So you saw that came out. It was kind of quashed. Somebody wanted to investigate it, and then all of a sudden you have all of these. It's like on daily, weekly, more people showing up, and a lot of these accusations and all that. I'm just thinking of me growing up and going from high school to college, or I didn't go to college, but in the military, whatever. The way certain people interact with people of the opposite sex. Like you have guys, that's some of the things that's reported. What he did is that's the way some guys actually try to pick up girls. Some other people are not pigs doing it, but he seemed like, you know, in my mind, what other girls would just call him a pig, right? He's just a pig. But now it's much worse than that. You should be in jail, lose your job, or whatever. I mean, Pepe Le Pew is wiped out of the movies now, and that dude, he's just he's overly zealous in his pursuit of black and white cats in the cartoons, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and he's supposed to be a Frenchman. That's the whole idea of it. The whole stereotype of French guys. That was the stereotype at one time, and then they got in war, and then people saw it, and it changed. But
now he's canceled.
I know. The whole thing is it's nuts. It is, and it's something that I don't think they're trying to protect Cuomo from the nursing home deaths. I think they're still trying to protect Obama because we've already gotten past the fact that he tried to overthrow the country. No, he didn't try to. He did. He did. He crippled the president to the point where he had an election stolen from him, and half of the country so dim-witted they believed it. But you can't let him off the hook. You can't. You can't. If you let him off the hook, they're going to do it again.
Well, they had to have help from China, right? The escaped Wuhan virus.
Yeah,
where it came from.
And Fauci. Let's not forget Fauci. I mean, Fauci was the one running the program.
Right. It was started in the United States, got kicked out, put overseas. Fauci was still funding it through the NIH. I think he refunded it when Biden was inaugurated.
Of course he did.
Okay, I'm going to start sending the fund back there.
Did you know that he is the highest in that speech? He's the highest paid government official in America. That Nazi fascist little prick is the highest paid government employee in America. More than all the Supreme Court justices, more than the president, more than me. I mean, that's something, man.
He's been there for a long time, right?
He's the one that blew AIDS.
He was there for the AIDS.
Yeah, he told me I was going to die, 80s. Man. Yeah, I was going to die. There was no more boom boom for me, man. I'm going to die. And I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 20 years old. I'm like, no, this dude's nuts, man. But I mean, it was in the back of your mind. Let's not pretend it wasn't. It was a scary time to be a young man. Scary time to be a young lady. You got all these government people telling you that if you go in a swimming pool or toilet seats and everything, it was terrible, man. The only difference, people really were dying of that, and we didn't do all the dumb shit we just did. It's beyond reproach, as they say.
I just can't keep the flu, right? The flu deaths, million a year.
2 million a year. 2 million. 1.6 to 2. None. 500,000 from Cuomo virus so far. And half of the ones with the Cuomo virus died of gunshot wounds. You can't trust the data, man. You can't. You cannot trust the data. Yeah. The data's bullshit. There's not 500,000 people.
Look. The flu vaccine's a failure. All we had to do was to wear a mask and nobody would die of the flu. It's like, are you freaking serious? No, don't even believe it.
It's unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, how many do you believe?
Littered all over the parking lot,
I had one in my own driveway I had to pick up the other day. I actually did use hand sanitizer.
If the mask, I saw this, I read this somewhere. I wish I remembered where so I can give credit. But it said, if the masks were supposed to protect folks from getting this COVID virus, why is there not a hazmat biological receptacle for people to dispose of the masks when they're done with them?
America, when are you going to wake up? Wake up, please. There are signs everywhere that this is bullshit. 500,000 people they're telling you died from this, and you know that's not true. You've heard the data month after month after month, how many people are on those rolls attributed with COVID deaths because somebody in their family said COVID one time. It's such bullshit. When you look at none of the other diseases have any bodies on them. Only this 500,000. Nobody's tracking anything else. Come on, guys.
I'm no medical person, but this so-called, air quotes, vaccine, I've read it's a RNA manipulator or something, and actually the vaccine is supposed to be a dead or a live low-grade virus injected in so your body produces antibodies to it. This so-called air quote vaccine is nothing like that. It's something DNA or RNA modifying or something. It's beyond me, but I'm like,
Ralph
wait a
was
minute, how
talking
can they
about
call
it.
it a vaccine?
Ralph was talking about it. The thing to me is I'm not, first, before we even explore whether I'm going to take a vaccine, which is by design or by nature experimental. I mean, they're trick screwing around here. And I don't care whether it's RNA or a white blood cells or antibody oriented or what it is. Before I take anything like that, I have to be aware and afraid of the disease, and I'm neither. I'm not concerned about coronavirus. I'm not concerned about any of that. So there's no damn way I'm taking a vaccine, and we're already, the good idea fairies and the communists are already, the airline corporations are kowtowing to the Biden group and asking for guidance on how to deal with a vaccine passport. This is what it's all about, folks. It's to get you to stop moving. And pretty soon it's going to be, they're going to tell you where to spend your money, where you're going to be allowed. Who's going to be allowed to borrow money? Who's going to be allowed to borrow money? That's right. You talk about Walmart and these people putting everybody else out of business. Walmart, i.e. China. Sam's Club, i.e. China. Home Depot, Lowe's, all of them. Half of our food industry, China. Our president, China. Vice president, China. You better wake up, folks. You better wake up.
Speaking of food, it's almost springtime in the United States. If you haven't, but you're looking to, this is the time to start getting your seedlings planted or getting your young plants in the ground so you can start producing your own food.
Be careful.
If it's for the first time, it depends on that,
Yeah,
towards me, yes. I think maybe a couple more weeks for you guys up a little bit further north.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good thing. It's a good time to do that. You're not going to take care of all of your needs unless you're really good and got a lot of time and a lot of land. But it's fun and it's good to know. I enjoy it. Back to Cuomo for just a second. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris maintain silence about Andrew Cuomo's scandal. If I was Joe Biden and I took inappropriate showers with my daughter, I would be silent too. Or if I had a son that I, allowed to become a crack addict and, his teeth were, oh God, I don't know if you saw those pictures, man, but dude's teeth were all the way down to black nubs, man. He's got fake teeth. Those aren't his teeth. Those are plastic. What a junkie. Ooh. But you know what? AOC and Gerald Nadler have called on Cuomo to resign. And I saw a headline, Schumer and somebody else did too. The dude's toast, man, but they just want him out of the headlines.
Gillibrand.
Yeah,
Senator
Gillibrand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just want to jump on the bandwagon.
That's all. You know how it is. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is, no question.
He's going to be like...
Where'd you go? You there? All right, let me look. No, we're still there. I don't know what happened to Jack, but I'm sure he will be back. I hope he is. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Cold War Radio with Jack and Hutch Bailey Jr. I'm out here at Camp Vienna. Jack is in the northern neck of Virginia. I'm trying to navigate my way around here. Let me see what this looks like and see what that looks like. And this looks like that, and that looks like that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Silver Star Medal to Gannon Edgy, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action while serving with the 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division during combat operations in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom on 3 April 2003 in Iraq. On that date, Staff Sergeant Edgy's Special Operations Scout Platoon was participating in a 24-hour road march to seize a key highway intersection when a 6-person team was sent ahead of the convoy to do road reconnaissance and check for enemy resistance. At about 0930 hours, the scout platoon was ambushed by Republican Guard forces that were hidden in positions along a 650-foot stretch of roadway. After one tank was hit by enemy fire, Staff Sergeant Edgy and his 2-vehicle scout team assumed responsibility to protect the rest of the combat train. Staff Sergeant Edgy called up his contact report and dismounted his vehicle to engage 5 enemy soldiers within 15 meters of his vehicle. He then began directing his own gunner and his wingman's gunner to engage the increasing number of enemy dismounts on the southern side of the road. Through Staff Sergeant Edgy's leadership and quick thinking under combat conditions, he contributed immeasurably to the saving of the lives of his fellow soldiers as well as extricating his team without injury. His exceptional leadership on the ground prevented the position from being overrun and saved the lives of all who were in the vehicles trapped along the road. Staff Sergeant Edgy displayed exceptional abilities to command and control under fire, which resulted in the destruction of a well-executed ambush of the Task Force 115 Tactical Operations Center and combat trains along Route Cubs by enemy insurgents. Hometown, Brunswick, Georgia. Staff Sergeant Edgy, job well done. God bless America.
But for more than 3 decades, I have also had the tremendous fortune to travel the world, and as part of that experience, to learn about the goodness and beauty of Islam. As a college student in the 1970s, I spent a summer traveling through Indonesia, taking in the wonderful landscape, culture, and people of Java and Bali. Despite my long hair, my earring, and my obvious American appearance, I was welcomed throughout that country in a way that is a reflection of the tremendous warmth of Islamic cultures and societies. Like the president during his childhood years in Jakarta, I came to see Islam not how it is often misrepresented, but for what it is, how it is practiced every day by well over 1 billion Muslims worldwide, a faith of peace and tolerance and great diversity. And if you permit me, or I should say, اسمح بعد إندونيسيا سافرت إلى مصر وهناك درست عربية في جامعة أمريكية في القاهرة وهذا في سنة 1975 و 76 وسافرت إلى الأردن وفلسطين والقدس وتونس وبعد مصر ساكن في الشرق الأوسط تقريبا 6 سنة لكن الآن أنا أجوز أنا كنت طالب وشباب لما درست عربية لكن الآن نسيت أكثرية اللغة كسلان لسان كسلان متأسف لكن ممكن إن شاء الله سوف أدرس عربية مرة ثانية إن شاء الله عفواً. Now don't tell the folks who don't speak Arabic what I said, okay? But I did spend time as an undergraduate at the American University in Cairo in the 1970s, and time spent with classmates from Egypt, from Jordan, from Palestine, and around the world, who taught me that whatever our differences of nationality or race or religion or language, there are certain aspirations that we all share: to get an education, to provide for our families, to practice our faith freely, to live in peace and security. And during a 25-year career in government, I was privileged to serve in positions across the Middle East, as a political officer with the State Department and as a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, I saw how our Saudi partners fulfilled their duty as custodian of the two holy mosques of Mecca and Medina. I marveled at the majesty of the Hajj and the devotion of those who fulfill their duty as Muslims by making that pilgrimage. And in all my travels, the city I have come to love most is Al-Quds, Jerusalem, where three great faiths come together. So much attention is paid to the divisions in that wonderful city.
Reverend Standard! This shit! We're gonna do it now, boys! Garza! Get your stupid ass down! Ain't nothing for you to shoot at!
What's this about you losing your Kevlar?
It bounced off my head, Sergeant Major, last night.
Bounced off your head.
I was up on the 50 cal and the Humvee went over a berm, Sergeant Major.
That Kevlar wasn't yours to lose! That was the property of this United States Marine Corps! Belonged to every Marine! Got you on Hollywood to secure that Hendrick! You jeopardized every Marine serving today!
I was consider NJP in your eyes.
Sergeant Culver! This is what happens when you don't enforce grimmer standards. The men's gets all lax, and another standard falls. Double up here stops to use his chin strap, goes over a bump, Kevlar goes flying off his head, and our protective posture is weakened.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio Number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back from the mountains to all of you. And just a little heads up when I'm in this mode. If you call up or you are in the green room, so to speak, waiting to get on the show, you're not going to be able to hear anything going on until I bring you on. And that's just a fault of the equipment setup that we have going on right now until I get the mixer reintegrated, which I will. If I got to buy another computer, I will. I actually bought one, but I talked myself out of it. It was like, to me, it was too much. It was like $1,500, man. I could have got a MacBook, and I was like, nah, you know what? I took it back. But anyway, Jack, thanks for hanging in there. You noticed it first. But let me go to the phones and welcome Val to the show. Hello, Val. Thank you for calling back. You were probably on there going, man, is this dead? What's going on? I can't hear. What's going on here?
Hi, Hutch. Hi, Jack. I did think something was wrong. But, you know, I have to say, Bruce and I moved to the new farm 2 days ago. 2 days ago. It was the most hectic 2 days I've had since I'm a kid.
Okay.
And we came back here to the Boca Raton house. My house got listed and was sold the same day.
Wow.
To someone from Pennsylvania. Now, I'm just going to tell you, there's something to be said for stupid Democrats, and I'm really going to. I'm going to take your hit with this because I spoke to someone from my medical office this morning. You could hear that liberal happiness in their voice. Oh, how wonderful. And I say, well, now, aren't you worried about the economy and, like, what might happen now, the Western banking system? Oh, no, everything's going to be just fine.
Jesus.
Well, you know, I'm telling you, Hutch, Double O and I really, really wanted to sort of keep this house and the other house. The interest rates are so low. We figured, you know, we'll play this for a while. But when my real estate agent said, you better strike while the iron is hot, and Florida is burning hot right now.
That's right.
I said, okay, put it on the market. Let's see what happens.
Nice move.
I mean to tell you, it sold for double the price that I ever paid for it. And I'm not saying I didn't put a new roof and money into it, but these people are hound dogs for Florida right now.
People are scared, Val. They're scared. Like I just said, Jack, what price was the gas that set you off? How much was it? 176?
179 here.
179.
279.
I got 309, and it's rising. People are
relative.
Yeah, people are afraid, man.
Do you think it's fear, or do you think that it's stupidity?
Well, I think that the people the people that are coming to you is fear. The people that are coming to Florida, that's fear. That's pure fear.
Yeah, Philly. Yeah, Philly. I would think, because the real estate agent told me they're ripping the entire house out. Now, I'm not talking about a normal price range here. I'm talking about something my husband and I bought a long time ago, and we were a publicly held company, and we had the bucks to buy it.
Yeah.
The fact that people are paying double that price and ripping the whole thing out. My whole community
that's
right
stupid.
now.
That's stupid. That's either stupid or somebody has way too much money. Marble floors, beautiful wood floors. I mean, I fixed this place up. No, they don't care. They'll buy the most beautiful houses and rip everything out. There has to be another side to this. And there might be. Now you're saying that. Now you got me thinking infiltration.
That's place up. No, they don't care. They'll buy.
Hold on. Marlene's mic's open. Hold on a second. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Infiltration maybe, but I'm thinking more they trust this Biden Democrat government.
You mean the customers that are paying too much for, or paying a large sum for property? You think those are Democrats?
Yes, they're from Philadelphia. I have to think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of Republican money in Philadelphia too. I mean, there's a lot of it. I mean, it just. I mean, that's an economic juggernaut. Go ahead, Jack.
So,
I don't know anything about them. Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, it could be cost of living. I mean, the cost of living, what they're used to, and maybe moving there, even though it might be, a high price right now in Boca Raton compared to what they've been paying. But say the expat from New York City leaving a place where, I mean, my nephew was renting a tiny room there. It was like almost $4,000 a month.
I know. So, my daughter lives there, and she says 1 bedroom, 1 million, 2 bedrooms, 2 million.
Yeah,
that's
but
like New York.
You get free rats though. Free rats. They're going to be down the basement.
So they might think it's a deal. And right now, with the interest rates is just starting to creep back up. They're still very low. So maybe
this is no interest. This is a cash buy.
Damn.
Bam.
Damn is right. And just think that they're going from
that's skinny Joey Merlino. that's the Bruno family coming on.
I don't know, 1,200 square feet to a 5,000 square foot house.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, this house is huge, and
that's two zip codes.
Yeah. Well, our new house is under 3,000, and it's one level. And we've got 5 acres, 2.5 acres fenced off, and we're trying very hard to get settled in there, but we're only half moved out of this house because it's just when you have all this space, you fill it up.
Oh yeah. So is double? Are we gonna start raising some chickens or some peafowl or something, or you know?
We got roosters and chickens making noise out our bedroom window every morning. We've only been there 2 or 3 nights, but we're back here in Boca, which is why I'm on the show, because I'm back in my Wi-Fi. I didn't know this house was going to sell so fast. We had to come back like immediately
just to get your router.
No, you're right, because we don't have any computer up there for another week. We have to just wait. So, I mean, this is almost hilarious to me that I'm in the midst of massive confusion. But what we really want to do, what I really want to do, is grow a food forest.
Okay.
Like I have an avocado plant back here and a lemon plant, oranges, figs. I'm going to transplant all that stuff there. I really want to do the fruits and the vegetables because we're in Florida. We can do this almost all year round. And this is my initial goal. And if the guy across the street from me has chickens and eggs, I'll make a swap with him.
There you go.
You know, I don't really want chickens. They're kind of yucky. I don't want to kill one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you got to make Bruce do that. He got to go out there and.
I don't think he could.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you. I saw this clip one time, and it was a YouTube video, and it was about Appalachia. And old mom, she went out and mom, I mean, all right, it might have been mom, but in this film, she looked like she was about 60. Not a happy woman. But she goes out to the chicken coop and gets two chickens. I don't know if they were roosters or hens. Probably roosters, because the hens were laying. But she went out there and grabbed 2 of them, and she had both of them by the neck, both of them by the head, and just carrying them by the head. And she nonchalantly. Now, when you think of sayings, traditional sayings that we have in the United States, they all have a root. They all came from something real. And wringing your neck is no exception. She had these 2 chickens by the head, and she just made a whoop movement and a whoop movement with the other side, and both of them were dead. They were both dead in her hand. She was still holding the head, but their necks were broken, and they didn't. There was no feathers flying or nothing, and she didn't even change her expression. She just went in and plucked them.
I know,
But anyway,
She
I can't
was
do that.
3:50, 2 hours, and dinner's going to be ready.
That's it. That's it.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that our house was sold in less than a day.
Damn.
There were 7 people looking at the house the very day it came on the market. There's a tirade of people moving down here, not only for the no sales tax, for fear, like you said, fear or stupidity. I'm 50-50 on that one. They just don't realize what might happen to the Western banking system. And the good weather.
Oh yeah, going on time. This is no time to buy something on time, in my opinion. Now that could change.
Agree.
That could change, and there's some people that have no choice other than to buy something on time, and you got to do what you got to do. But that being said, I agree with your realtors or your real estate agents' advice to sell, because you're already seeing other states join ranks with Florida. You're already seeing Texas do it. You're going to see every state in the South is going to do it, except for maybe New Mexico. But there's things happening in Arizona and Georgia and other states that, there's going to be a regrouping of the country here. This is not – understand something, ladies and gentlemen. And Valerie, I'm going to let you go here in a second. I want to get your final comments first. But understand that this shit's not normal. What's going on right now is not – that liberals and leftists are a minority in our country. Jake Tapper and Brian Stelter are abnormalities, not normal. Don Lemon is not a normal dude, man. He is a freak. And there's more people, Valerie, like you and Bruce and me and Jack and everybody listening to this show than there are people like Joe Biden and Andrew Cuomo. Trust me, I'm telling you the truth. And this is going to regroup, and people are going to... We have... A lot of times I think that we have to do things that are unprecedented and unconventional. But I'm not ready to say that yet, and I'm not ready until 2022. We have a chance to stand up, and I know Ward is echoing in my mind as I say this. If the Dominion machines aren't taken away, it doesn't really matter. Well, you know what? Dominion machines were effective in 5 states, not all of them. If all we have to worry about is 5 states, turn everything else red. And let's go from there. We got a shot.
Right.
In 2022, don't underestimate yourselves. Val, your final comments.
I totally agree, Hutch, and there's no way I'm giving up. I just felt that I needed to make a move out of this liberal Palm Beach County. And just last night, we were sitting in a restaurant listening to people talking, and you heard all the Republicans talking. And we're just an hour north of where we are here, and it's a whole different world of people. And I'm just so happy that I had this inclination at just the right time to find this place, to be able to live a mile down a dirt road. It's like going back to my roots. Yeah, it's really great. And Bruce is going to put the mailbox up tomorrow along with 6 others that live down our dirt road.
All right, man.
So
That's
we're
too
really
cool.
changing. We're really shifting gears. Yep. I'll send you some avocados.
Okay. I appreciate it, Val. Thank you for calling. Always appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys. Good night.
All right. Good
Now
night.
they can blast Leonard Skinner, at all
Right,
times
yeah.
of the evening. And they
That
ain't gonna
sounds
have
awesome.
complaints,
I know, it sounds great, man. You can just shoot off fireworks and, whatever. But, I don't think I'm going to be able to
The
do
food
that.
forest, that sounds good.
It does. It does. I'm waiting for my wife to retire, and I'm going to be dragging her kicking and screaming, though, because it's weird, our dynamic. She was basically brought up very close to my camp, as a matter of fact. And I was brought up in the city. So I migrate to the country, and she migrates to the city. I'm going to have to drag her out. But, she listens to me, though, a little bit, most of the time.
You got to take her back home. Take her back home.
Yeah, take her, drag her back. Ken from King George, man, what's going on, brother?
Hey, okay. She just had Val on, and she lives down a dirt road. She would have been right at home down here. She would have. Her and Double Ott would have followed us down here after CPAC last year. So, when I met her, I was like, it seems a little uppity, but not, but great. Her, Double Ott, great people.
Oh yeah, I think the last day of freedom that we experienced was all of us together in D.C. If you recall. I mean that was that was a good time. But as soon as we came home from that, it was over, man. If you recall.
Well, we're what 4 days away from the 1 year anniversary of 15 days to flatten the curve.
That's right. That's right.
That happened. I think this Tuesday coming up is 1 year anniversary of that. But just to let you know, our illegal potluck at work went without a hitch. Nobody got fired.
All right, your buddy's safely retired and into the history books.
He's safely retired. We're going to miss him dearly. He brought a skill set to our team that some of the stuff he knows how to do, or if you know anything about electronics, have you ever heard of the term lacing?
Lacing?
If you ever look at any of the old
Lacing
yeah.
to me, there's two kinds of lacing. One is when you're drinking a craft beer and you drink a swig out of your pint and the beer goes back into the glass and the white marks that are in between the beer level and the top of the glass, that's called lacing. Another form of lacing when it comes to electronics and mechanical operations is using lacing wire to secure something with a lacing tool, which you loop the wire normally through a hole or a set of holes. You get the two ends of the wire, clamp it with the lacing tool, pull the back of the lacing tool, and the entire set of locking pliers twists, and it twists the lacing wire secure. Is that what you're talking about, or am I missing something?
Well, okay, so you're kind of confusing lock wire with... No, because
I know Jack knows what I'm talking about. Jack used some lacing wire before.
Yeah, that's what stuff comes back from calibrating.
Damn,
and, you'd have those. The screw heads was notorious for having those things.
Right, so yeah, we called it, or working with the CWIS techs, close-in weapon system, those guys, every bolt had to be lock wired. So I never heard that referred to as lacing, but if you ever look at like a 1940s, 1950s, like a cable harness, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they had it's a wax based, almost like a. I can't even think of the source, right? But
Cosmoline?
No, it's more like a shoelace type material, but it's flat, it's wax covered, and you tie a bunch of knots on it.
All right, so being a professional talk radio host that I am, I'm going to take this into a subject that everybody cares about, and let's talk about something. Not to cut you off, Ken, but the lacing wire, it's kind of going dead in the chat room, but naturally so. Not to us. I mean, we were into it.
Hold on, Hutch. Hold on, Hutch. I'm
okay.
trying to do some lacing with this beer.
Lace those boots up, man. I mean. But so I wanted to ask you, Ken. There's this guy down in Virginia that thinks that he's all that in a bag of chips. Among the crowded field of gubernatorial candidates for governor of Virginia is Sergio de la Peña, who calls himself the conservative colonel. De la Peña, who has served in the Army, was an early supporter of Donald Trump. Back when he was merely a candidate, he was part of the Trump transition team for DOD before serving as the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Western Hemisphere Affairs. De la Peña was born in Mexico and legally immigrated to the United States of America as a child. It's because of his inspiring story of the American dream, as well as such accomplishments in leadership, De la Peña is confident he has what it takes to win. Have you ever heard of the dude?
Well, it's not putting advertising on WMAL.
Okay.
I haven't seen him on Fox 5 News. None of the local stuff. I mean, up until this very moment, I've never heard of the guy.
Okay, so like I said,
I know who Amanda Chase.
Sergio de la Peña. Sergio de la Peña.
And that Trump supporter.
Well, if you look at, dang it. Help me out here.
The only one that I've seen on the television is a guy named Youngkin, and it's a professional out of the box, professionally produced advertisement candidate on the Republican side. So that automatically tells me he's got Mitch McConnell's money, which means I don't have nothing to do with him.
Well, yeah, I've heard his advertisements also on WMAL.
Of course.
And I mean, they've been going on for almost 2 months now. You know, is that the guy that was? He was a business owner, and he was all that gets
sports guy, all American. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Regina in the chat room. Hold on, Regina in the chat room.
Trump and all that. He doesn't have any money. That sounds like somebody that I'd want.
Regina in the chat room says that Amanda Chase is who Regina's looking at. She says no one else, man. So maybe what do I need to know about that?
Yeah, Regina's.
Amanda's been censured by the Republican Party.
Okay, I like her.
And she also
that's the one I want. That's the one I want. I want her.
Well, and she's also brought up a lawsuit against the Republican Party of Virginia because of the way that they're looking to do their primary.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I want. She's the winner. I mean, maybe she could link up with La Pena. You know, this is what we got to do. We got to start looking at things in a more strategic way as opposed to tactically. Tactically, everybody just wants to be the governor, so they're going to go out there. But, you know, strategically, some old dude has to be in the back going, hey, Alejandro and Sergio and Amanda, come here. You guys need to get together if we're going to win this.
Pull the multiple choice primaries where you get to select like there's 3 candidates and you can put A, B, and C, which means
Maine does that.
Your first vote is for A.
Yeah, they weight them.
Right. And then when you get all the ballots in, if your guy doesn't win, then they automatically go to your B and then put that to the B. So that to me, that ain't right. You know, somehow you're manipulating the numbers or whatever, one way or the other. It's like, if my guy doesn't win, that's fine. But don't take my second choice. I don't have a second choice. I have one choice.
I want one guy. That's it.
Right?
Yeah. I agree with you, man.
Right. And that was one of the things that Amanda was kind of upset about was the way that they were going to choose the candidate. They were going to do some sort of almost like a caucus type thing like they do out in Iowa.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then there was some chatter about her running as an independent for a little while. And then, so, I mean, I've met, or I wanted to meet her. She came down to the little barbecue joint down here, and she's like, you know, and they were, every news article you see, well, Amanda showed up and she wasn't wearing a mask and blah, 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 and neither were 90% of the people there, well, she's my freaking candidate then.
There you go. All right, Ken, so, we're definitely getting out of here at 10 o'clock tonight, so I need your final comments, sir.
Oh, man, I'm just glad you guys are still on the air and they haven't, banned you like,
give them time. Give them time.
Places like Twitter and
give them time. We'll stay one. We'll try to stay. We'll try to stay a step or two ahead of them for you, though. That's what we're doing. I'm in a totally different configuration.
I like how you brought up the whole MRE thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
We have a running joke at work. When they started this whole COVID thing, and they brought this Home Depot bucket in there with a bunch of stuff, cleaning supplies. Well, the guy that just retired because he's Vietnam era Marine, he was like, "Oh, is that a hunker down bucket when we have next active shooter training?" So my stepson ended up getting a boatload of these MRE boxes, right? So right next to what we call the hunker down bucket is a a bean burrito something MRE. Yeah, okay. If you eat this, you need that bucket.
Yeah, that was one of the things that the Barack Obama administration did was introduce Mexican food into the MREs.
We try to have fun at work. And what's that?
I said that's one of the things that the Obama administration did. They took the whole menu of the MRE system and they added all kinds of non-American food. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, got to go, Ken. Thanks for calling, and have a great weekend. And I'm just glad that we're able to take calls up here. Thank you, man.
There you go.
Sorry, man. Sorry. You were a little slow on the trigger, man. You got to be quicker than that. Ladies and gentlemen, your weekly Jihad Report 39. Jihad attacks 134 killed, 62 injured, 0 Allahu Akbars or suicide blasts this week. 15 countries affected. The religion of peace. Atrocity of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make this shit up. Local authorities reported that at least 46 people were killed in Irumu County in the northeastern province of Ituri in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, following an attack attributed to Ugandan rebels from the Allied Democratic Forces. They're hopping the border, folks. The attack took place yesterday, and according to local civil society sources reported by Actualite, there's an accent aigu on the E or something, accent grave, one of the two. The Congolese digital news agency, that's Actualite. Among the dead civilians were women and children. We have been alerted to an attack by the Allied Democratic Forces, this is the shit you can't make up, in Abombe at the headquarters of Wallis Funcado. Unfortunately, many pygmies have been killed. The latest information is 46 dead, he said late yesterday in statements to the same media. Interior Minister Adio Jedi. Other recent misunderstandings of Islam. On the 11th in Afghanistan, Taliban gunmen murder a child. On the 10th, in Keith Ellison, Somalia, one person is killed when a COVID response team is targeted with a bomb. Damn, coexist, folks. On the 7th, in Nigeria, a Christian father of 4 is hacked to death by Muslim militants. On the 7th, in Syria, 18 truffle farmers are cleared out by landmine attacks on 2 buses. How would the Democrat elites think about their truffle farmers being discriminated against like that? On the 6th, in Somalia, 20 patrons at a restaurant are butchered by a Fedayeen suicide bomber. And finally, on the 5th, in Yemen, 3 children are killed and 10 wounded when Shiite militia fire shells into their homes. The religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time. Insert Muslim clip here. Muslim clip over. Jack, this never ends, man. It just never ends. But we're going to go to winners and losers right now because that's and Marlene, stand by. You're coming up next. But I'm about 35 minutes late on this segment. So Jack, your winners and losers, starting with your winner and take it away.
Yeah, mine all surround this week's passing in the House of what is labeled the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2021. You Second Amendment folks will not be happy with the losers of the bunch. I'll start with them. There's 8 Republicans in the House of Representatives that voted for this Bipartisan Background Checks Act, which would basically make it illegal for family, person to person, private sales of firearms, making a father have to go to the government to pass on or sell a firearm to a son or a daughter.
This is one of those. This is one of those things you. This is one of those things you don't give them permission to do. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So they passed. So the 8 losers in this, 3 of them came from Florida, by the way, for you folks in Florida. The Florida representatives, GOP type, Buchanan, Salazar, and Jimenez joined Pennsylvanian Fitzpatrick, New York's Garbarino, our favorite Adam Kinzinger from Illinois, and Fred Upton and from Michigan, and Smith from New Jersey. Those are my losers because they voted. Those are all GOP. They voted for this breach on the Second Amendment. My winner is the lone Democrat from Maine who bucked the trend of his entire party. We talked about this earlier, how everyone's in lockstep. And it may just be a ploy. They already knew the votes. They had enough to pass, and he did it just to have this on record. I don't know enough about this guy, but he is on record. Democrat Representative Jared Golden from Maine voted no. It's an easy deal. It's not going to pass the Senate, unlike the
you don't know anymore.
The COVID BS 1.9.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to try to pull that. That they did that COVID / bill and a reconciliation of a budget. So I mean, it's not beyond them.
Simple majority. That's right. I mean, what do you think? Do you think they're going to take the filibuster out? I mean, let's not, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, do not put your hopes on Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin's a fake son of a bitch communist. Don't put your hopes on that Democrat bastard. He is not anywhere close to being red. He's not conservative. He's not moderate. He's nothing else. He's a slimy West Virginia politician trying to sneak past people. He's the one that keeps saying, "Oh, I'll never vote for that." Yeah, right. Look at your record, man.
He's a weather vane. He is, as the wind blows, is where he is.
That's right.
He goes where the wind blows. Which
all right, so my
we used to call independent, or
yeah. And you know what? You know what? Independent. There's a couple things that are misnomers, and this is something that I learned from Rush Limbaugh. There's no such thing as undecided or independent. You're either a thinking individual or you're not. How can you be undecided on any issue of the day, Jack, that we're dealing with right now? I mean, it's either right or wrong. It's either good or evil. There's not a whole lot of gray area here.
Well, I consider myself independent, but you definitely hear me, so you know I'm not undecided. So I don't like to be lumped in with that.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to disparage anybody. I'm just saying the whole idea. You know, every year we hear, okay, the presidential election's coming up, and it's going to be decided by these 13 people right here. We got 350 million people in America, but these 13 people are going to decide because they're on the fence. Get the hell out of here. You're not on the fence when it comes to life or death.
You're talking about poll numbers, right? Poll numbers, the undecided.
Yeah. You know, we're either with the Second Amendment or we're not. We're either for the Constitution or we're not. Well, it's undecided, and oh, man, shut up. And I think that the Republicans
it's more like who answers the phone. Who answers the phone? I have never answered, at least since I have a cell phone or a smartphone, as they call them now. Yeah. I have never heard a political call, right? As far as who are you or
no, me either. No, I hear you. I hear you.
My phone filters them out.
Let me wrap this up, Jack. I forgot about Marlene out there. She's probably like, God damn it, my battery's dying. Listen, my winner.
That's my fault, Marlene.
No, it's not. It's my fault. But I this is the first time this has happened, man. I have no winner. I'm sorry. I thought about it, and I have none. And they're probably out there, but I couldn't find them, man. I looked, and I just couldn't find them. I have a loser, though. I have a loser. Affirmative Action General Lloyd Austin, now the Secretary of Defense, because he's ignoring the real live. This does work because Marlene's going to be able to answer to this. The real live insurrection effort in Portland, Oregon. A real one. I mean, with combatants dressed in all black with radios and weapons, setting fire to the federal courthouse, breaking windows. And fake-ass General Lloyd Austin, with his fat ass up there, is keeping the National Guard in Washington, D.C. after the National Guard Bureau, the highest-ranking dude in the National Guard, who is part of NORTHCOM, the command that is responsible for Homeland Defense, not Homeland Security, Homeland Defense, which means tanks on the border of the homeland shooting out for foreign invaders. He wrote to the president, I want my guard out of here. It's unconstitutional. And Lloyd Austin, General Biden's BFF, and probably China's too, came out and overrode it. Just said, nope, they're staying. Sickening, man. It makes me want to throw up. It's horrible, Jack. Your thoughts on that?
doubt.
Going to the phones.
No doubt, yeah. And just what he did with that, along with what Pelosi and members of Congress are trying to do with creating a standing force
It's sickening.
to protect the Capitol.
Mutinies are authorized.
Mutinies
are authorized.
It is direct contradiction to the formation of this nation and the founding documents.
It's sickening. It's freaking sickening. And fuck all you
our
Democrats.
Our soldiers are not there to protect politicians from stealing taxpayer money and sleeping with the enemy.
And sleeping with little girls and little boys. Democrat politicians and probably Republicans too. Well, Weaver. You remember Weaver. Nasty bastard. All right, let's go to the phones. And Marlene, I apologize for taking so long, but it worked out just perfect. How you doing? And I appreciate you waiting. And I know you probably couldn't hear any of that.
Okay.
So you had to listen on your computer or something.
Yes, I could.
I hope you adapted.
No, I'm serious. I really could hear. I could hear.
Oh, yeah, okay. You could hear us. There was no clips. Okay,
yes.
Good deal. Good deal.
But anyway, yeah, that whole mess in Portland, what a bunch, I mean, there they go again. You know, just as soon as the fencing was taken down and the plywood was removed off of the windows, those little stormtrooper robots, whatever the hell they are, Antifa guys, I guess, they're back at it again.
I know, man. It's nuts. And they even had FBI agents tackling
fire the things and just having a good old time. Yeah, and they can't even bring the National Guard away from D.C. to send a few of them down to Portland to take care of those little jagoffs.
How do you combat an idea?
I don't know.
Antifa's just an idea, right?
Right.
Isn't that what the president said?
Right. No. They're a bunch of maniacs.
Well, can you see the Antifa guys? Marlene, did you listen to
yes.
Jack and I talking about C rations and MREs? Can you imagine a bunch of Antifa guys sitting around eating that shit? No, they need their lattes.
No.
They need some flambe
that would
shit.
Be funny as hell.
They need some kind of plant-based something to light on fire. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't know. But
what they need is they need some something made out of tofu or tempeh.
Right. Yeah, you know
I'll leave it there.
Some plant-based
yeah, I know.
soy. Oh, man. Yeah, I see all these people. They got soybeans.
It's actually good.
Soybeans big business, man, in agriculture. It's big business farming. You know, there's soy fields all over the place here.
Oh, yeah. They have some down in California, too, I think. You were talking about food earlier. I was wondering, have you ever tried lettuce for a sandwich wrap? I actually did once, and it was okay.
In Korea, no. When I was in Korea, matter of fact, this is so cool that you just said that. The same time, the same couple days that I was broke down, that I was talking to you about the MRE chicken a la king sickle that I pulled out of the MRE box.
Yes.
We also, we were very close to North Korea on that operation. And it was so cool. It was kind of like anywhere else. The further north that we got, and this is 1980, like 3 or 4. The further north that we got, the closer to North Korea we got, the more the people that lived in South Korea there loved us. Now you start going south,
wow,
and they got a little weak, man. They got a little lax, as Command Sergeant Major Sixter said. You know, they got a little lax.
Yes.
But when we were up there, up north, boy, they loved us. And we stopped at a place, and it was cool because obviously I was in a battalion. It wasn't a battalion. It was what's a battery and a squadron? Squadron? Yeah. Not squadron. What's a field artillery? It's a battery and a battalion. So I was in a battalion, and one of our other batteries sent their 578 VTR operator to get us. And so this sergeant is part of that VTR, and he's a Korean, right? He's an American soldier. He's a GI, an E5, a buck sergeant.
Right.
But he's Korean.
But he's Korean.
Right. But he's a U.S. Army guy, and he speaks fluent Hangul, which is the Korean language. Not to be confused with Asian. Okay. If you're a college-educated American, Asian, that's like everybody. Like if you can speak Asian, everybody understands you, and that's not true, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they think, right. But it's not true.
Not true.
So
I know it's
Hangul is what Koreans speak. The ones that weren't in Korea during the Japanese occupation, when they outlawed Hangul and made all the kids learn Japanese. But that's a different story and not really relevant to this. But anyway, we had this guy
doing in parts of China, but that's a story for another day.
Right. And well, we had this sergeant with us, and so he took us to this little restaurant, this little cafe. And you were talking about the lettuce wraps. And he, talked to this guy. And all I don't know if the sergeant paid this dude anything. I'm not sure. But I know I didn't pay nothing because I didn't have no money. But I ate. And I'm going to tell you what, they laid this platter out, and there was kind of like a little charcoal grill, a hibachi type of thing, and he was grilling up tteokgogi, which is marinated pork strips, right? Tteokgogi.
That sounds good.
Not to be confused with kgogi, which is dog strips, but
or bulgogi.
Bulgogi's beef, and that's delicious as hell, and you can get that almost in every state.
I've had that. That's really good.
But tteokgogi is pork, and it's marinated, and it was cooked on a charcoal grill, and then there's a pile of that, and then there's 20 different piles of assorted vegetables and kimchis and garlic, cloves, and all kind of shit, and these big pieces of romaine lettuce. And so you took the meat and you grilled it on the hibachi, and somehow the smoke went outside. I can't remember how, but I mean, it's 1984, 83, man. Come on. I killed a lot of brain cells since then. You know what I mean? But anyway, so you get that, and you put all this stuff in the lettuce, and then you take the chokari, you take the chopsticks, and you put it around the lettuce and fold it all up and dip it in some of that god-awful spice, the hot, not god-awful bad, god-awful hot. No, not wasabi, just like some red pepper paste.
Oh, I know what it is, and I can't remember what you call it.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you what, I ate, and it was good, and I'll never forget that. It was one of the best meals of my life. I was freezing cold, starving. All I had was a chicken a la king sickle out in the track. Track wouldn't start, man. I was like embarrassed because I'm supposed to be a mechanic, you know. But anyway, so there's that. I took up most of your time. Go ahead,
Anyway,
Marlene. Get the best out of
Okay,
it.
you were mentioning about. I'll try to wrap it up. I know it's almost time to go.
No, take your time. You're the last one.
Okay, good. Because I remember coming back from CPAC, and you were right. As soon as I got home, I think I went to work one day, and then the next day they called me up and they said, Marlene, we want you to stay home for about 4 days. And I'm like, what in the hell?
I know, man. I know. I remember it well.
This is bull.
You know what, though? That was a good time. Even my wife had a good time. She doesn't really do that kind of stuff. And she had a good time.
Yeah.
I hope we get to do that again. Maybe we'll do it down at
I do too.
You know where we ought to do it? I'll tell you where it'd be really nice to do it. Yo, you listening, Val? Double up, man. You got a copy?
The food forest.
I mean, Jack might even come, man. You know? I don't know what the hell Jack looks
I'll
like.
come
Man.
up
That's
to Camp
scary.
Vienna.
You're welcome up here anytime. That's an open invitation.
Where do you go?
That's an open invitation right there. That's yeah. Any I got to get Sal up here, man. He's doing pretty good. What do you guys think about Sal? Man, he's this guy was he's one of the guys I met when we first came online with Bird's Eye View, and he messed around with that for a little bit, and then he turned out to be this like serious conservative. He gave me hope, man, for Pittsburgh, but my hope's shot. I'm getting the hell out of here at some point. But anyway,
I know you are. You can't wait.
I can't believe you're still there.
Another funny note. You were talking about that Sergio guy, and I'm sorry. That's what I get for listening to Jeff Dunham. But first person I thought of was Jose Jalapeno on a stick.
I swear to God, I was listening to Jack talking about his losers. And I'm thinking, why do we keep electing senators named Salazar? Are we stupid? I mean, and that's a bigoted, white boy, old, nasty man thing. But goddamn, it's common sense, man. You got if you got a candidate, if you got a guy or a woman that's a candidate who her name is Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar, don't you think you ought to frickin' investigate a little bit before you put them in the United States frickin' Congress? Jesus Christ, it's not frickin'. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the only one, and like,
it makes no.
I'm the last white dude in America that would say something like that because it's true.
Yeah.
And the rest of these people
very
have
true.
lost.
The only Salazar I know of is guy that ran track when I was a kid at U of O.
I got nothing against.
Also a track guy.
I got nothing against Salazars. I got nothing against Menendez's. I got nothing against Putin's.
Damn good at it.
I ain't got nothing against Hitler's. I ain't got nothing against Goebbels or frickin' Mugabe's or Idi Amin Dada's.
Yeah.
Just go check them out and make sure that they're not the enemy before you give them the frickin' keys, okay? That's all I'm saying. I mean, is that really that hard?
Which they didn't do. They just... No, it's not. As you and I both know, they didn't do that. They didn't check those people out.
They didn't. They figured, I'll vote for him. He's a brown guy. Or I'll vote for him. He's a black guy. I'll vote for him. He's queer.
Vote for you.
That guy's a Chinese guy. I'm going to vote for him because of this. And then you end up with this city council in San Francisco that has nothing to do with San Francisco. That's all. And let's get serious. I mean, there are more white Anglo-Saxon Protestant criminal mother suckers in Congress than anything else. So I'm not going to, sit here and say, let's vote for all them. You let them in too. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Now I'm going to calm down. I'm going to calm down now. So your thoughts for the weekend?
He pulled out the Ewins.
Yins. I threw the Yins. The Yins. There's no O or U in that. That's a Y-I-N-Z.
Yeah,
that's a Yins. That's a motherfucking Yins. All right, Marlene, wrap it up.
Okay, just one more little thing. This is nothing real super political, but we're talking about gas, and what's so strange is gas here in Eugene is right around $3 a gallon.
Damn, it's more in Pittsburgh than Eugene? Oh, Lord. It's more in Pennsylvania than it is
But
in
what's
Oregon.
funny is you go over to the coast, you go 2 hours west of me, and it's cheaper. It's just a little bit over $2 a gallon.
Damn.
Like $2.29, $2.39. I'm like, damn, what's
Tom
going on
Wolfe.
here?
That's
Tom
local
Wolfe.
taxes.
Yeah, that's Tom Wolfe, man. My Benito Mussolini out of Pennsylvania.
Yep.
All right, Marlene, thanks for calling. You have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you as usual. All right, Jack, man, I'll tell you. I don't know what's going on here, man. What's going on?
I know you got fired up here on closing out the show, but
well, it was fun. It was a good show.
A PA thing.
It is. It is. There's no question. It's an Appalachian thing.
I
Really.
know when I heard that, I said, "Oh, he's fired up now."
Yeah. I was
the show's about to end.
I was starting to get fired up, but got to roll out. I got my family here, man, and I want to thank you for coming on. We made it work, man. We made it work. That's the most important thing. The most important thing about tonight's show is I'm at Camp Vienna, Jack's on the other side of the string, and we just took callers. That means that we can take guests up here. That means I can stay up here as long as I want. All I got to do is I got to figure the clips out.
And you had family there on Netflix.
That's true.
And, so we
and there was
that rubber band to its max.
We did. There was a little, but Jack, you did a great job. I want to thank you for that. Now, I'm not going to be able to blend the music in. Like, this is not going to sound professional as it normally does, but I'm still happy with what we have because I had a conversation with Mona, man, and I had to blow a guest off. So next Friday, Jack, you and I have a guest, and I'll send you the email directly. Because that was nice. She was like, well, what date is going to be good? And I'm like, well, earliest. And you got to understand my communication with Mona, if you ever mess with anybody from New York, you can't mess around with the semantics because they read into shit like you wouldn't believe. So I had to really check. Yeah, I got to check my verbiage before I send it to Mona if I don't want 12 emails coming back the other way. Well, what do you mean about this? Did I piss you off here? Oh, you're pissing me off here? No. Okay. So anyway, I said, well, I'll be back next Friday. Let's go with that because I didn't know how long it was going to take me. Dude, I did so much stuff with this connection. I put a whole new computer, not a new one, an old one. I don't know if you remember when I was on the Wayne Dupree show, but we had this little thing with let's not even go there. Anyway, I bought this computer that's pretty much worthless. It's a boat anchor. It has like a megabyte of memory or something. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. And I tried to start that up, and it was working. But, dude, you talk about hiccups, man. It was like we wouldn't be able to talk for 2 minutes when it's regrouping. So I got my laptop. Anyway, nobody cares about that. We're getting better, and we're going to continue to get better. I'm going to reintegrate the mixer into here. I just got to figure it out. But, Jack, thanks again, man. Hell of a wingman on Fridays. Your final comments, sir.
Hey, it's great to be a part of this. It's good that you're getting that. And to me, right now, the best thing that I've heard for this whole entire show is that your family's out there enjoying the countryside in Pennsylvania with you this weekend. So, boom. Have a great time. It was great to hear Val call in, and they've escaped Boca Raton and gone out there and got their own little piece of nature, right? The food forest.
But the sad part is that you have to escape Boca Raton. I mean, to have to escape such a paradise, man. It's sad in a way.
Hey, some of that you get down there in the Palm Beach area, and that's
that's true.
You can't even step out of the house without making sure that you're representing something.
I was actually on the radio in Palm Beach.
Everywhere.
I was on the radio down there. A guy had me on the show. I forget the name of it. Maybe I'll try to dig it out. Anyway, thank you, Jack. Look forward to catching you on Friday, next Friday. And I'm sure we will continue to progress. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in tonight, spending a couple hours of prime time Friday night time with us. It's humbling, isn't it, Jack? I mean, people listen to us. I mean, this is like the best time of the whole week, right? Friday night, man.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
Me too.
I've always enjoyed being a part of this. I was drawn to the community when President Trump got elected, and you guys were on Wayne Dupree. Then I followed you here, and just the people are wonderful, and it like reinforces the fact that I'm not losing my mind here. I know that America is much better than what is represented right now on the TV media and the politicians. We don't need to bow down before the government. This is America. We, the people, rule this nation. So it's
so true.
Just so great to be a part.
So true. And, it's great because I'm a little bit of a firebrand, and sometimes, I go with emotions or alcohol, or mostly emotions. But, I have 3 co-hosts, and one of them, Ward and I, will just go straight at you, 50 calibers coming straight. But with Jack and with Sal, I have this excellent resource that has the capability of pulling me back off the edge, and I like that. And I don't always abide by it, but I like it. I like the ability to have a safety valve, because like I said, when you go, I try not to do the show by emotion, but saying that, the show would suck if I didn't have emotion in it, and nobody'd listen to it. That's just the nature of, I don't know, entertainment. I don't consider it entertainment. A lot of it is entertainment. But Jack, I really appreciate your ability to do that, and I also super enjoy that you were watching the guy that did the MREs. And I don't really mean that. I mean that you were in the military during the same time I was.
Hey, somehow, that guy is entertaining to me.
He is. Me too,
somebody
man.
that's willing to eat hardtack from the Civil War just so we can see what happens to him.
Do you read the shit that's up on the wall behind him and try to figure stuff out? Did he go to where was he? He was in Japan, man. Okinawa's up there on his wall.
He got Okinawa behind him. I think the thing that I enjoy the most is whenever he finds
that cigarette,
a freaking 80-year-old pack of smokes.
Yeah, he lights them up, man. He fires it up. Oh. And they got to be nasty. Yeah. They got to be nasty. I mean, it's amazing that he doesn't light them because none of them had filters back then. It's amazing he didn't light it and it just freaking went up in flames. It was so dry, But I like the way – I love those trays, man, those stainless steel trays. Because when I went to Valley Forge Military Academy, those trays, the trays I'm talking about, right?
Right.
The stainless steel trays he brings out.
The prison trays.
No, those are Army trays. Now, if you look at on either side, there's a slanted, indentation, and there's a machine that goes along with that. And they had the machine at Valley Forge, and it would fill this plastic container up with juice, Kool-Aid, and then it would whip a saran wrap top over it did a whole rack at a time. It would lay the saran wrap over the top, and then a melting thing would come down and seal the saran wrap around 50 of these little drinks, and they'd fit right in either side of those trays. But anyway, that's just a little trivia. But thank you, Jack, always appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out. Go to rsbn.bandcamp.com and check out Jacob Seals. You'll be hearing him in a second. Actually got our YouTube video banned because of that, but I'm not even concerned about that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for stopping by. This is Cold War Radio. We'll be back Monday, 8 p.m. God bless.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
Last night you had the enchilada combo platter. This morning, the 3-cheese omelet with broccoli. This afternoon, you're a ticking time bomb. Because of you, a simple elevator ride is suddenly a 42-floor plummet into the very bowels of hell.
You take my breath away.
Who did it? Who cares? Sweet mercy, please just someone light a match.
Sweet, sweet mercy.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh ninja of the nasty. And while you're at it, crack open a window.
Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.